is up, everybody? Welcome back. Welcome back. It feels so good to be back. Welcome back to Fantasy Time. And today, we got a very special episode for you guys. I mean, if you haven't been following along, right, the NFL is now the new football league, not the National Football League, because the entire league has shifted. We've seen a massive change. The league that we saw last season is not the league that we are going to see next season. It is drastically different. So we had to bring you a special free agency breakdown to help you guys follow along in the madness that is free agency. But you guys may notice yourself, you're missing something. Don't worry. The fantasy guy is ready to get the business started, because boy, do we have a lot of business to discuss. And guess who's gonna join me? I already told you, Brandon. Yes, one of my best friends, Brandon Sullivan, is back, and we are back for a free agency edition of Meat on the 50, right? So we're going to be breaking it all down. You guys are going to want to follow along. If you guys don't know anything that's happened, or if you just like, God, there's so many moves, I don't even know what's going on, I am going to tell the free agency story that is this NFL offseason. So join us. But before we even get into it, you guys know what I tell you. If you like anything that you see during this video, please smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, just tap on that bell notification. That way, anytime new videos drop, right, and they're dropping, right, you're right there to consume the content, because we're dropping the knowledge. Brandon and I are always dropping the knowledge, right? It's right at your feet. You just got to look down, pick it up, shove it in that head of yours, shake it around, and boom, better fantasy player and a more knowledgeable football human being, right? Because that's what it's about. If you're not growing, you are dying. So without further ado, let's get into it. We hope you enjoy this edition of Meat on the 50. We are back, baby. Woo! Man, it feels good. It feels great to be back. I mean, holy moly. And of course, you know who had to join me for this, right? None other than one of my best friends, Brandon Sullivan. Brandon, how in the hell are you?
I am doing fantastic. I mean, we are just about a month removed from the Super Bowl, and boy, have we had a lot of activity throughout the NFL. It kind of feels like we're still involved with the season. I mean, it's crazy. Like, I'm just checking my phone constantly, waiting for that next major, report from Bleacher Report or from who's going where. And I've been calling Dylan, and every time I call him, he said, who went where, because basically all of the dialogue around all these calls have been centered around this free agency and these big trades.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, this, and I think Ian Rappaport tweeted it. This is the craziest NFL offseason I think we have ever seen. I mean, how fitting you follow up the craziest NFL season we've ever seen with the craziest offseason we've ever seen. I mean, I said this in the intro. You'll see it when we get the video, Brandon. This is no longer the National Football League. This is the new Football League, because it's brand new. I mean, everybody has changed teams. We see a completely different landscape than we saw just a year ago. We're going to get into it. We're going to walk through the story of this free agency. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do it. So, the very first domino to fall was Mr. Thomas the GOAT Brady announcing his retirement from the NFL. But we're gonna put a little asterisk next to that word retirement, and we're gonna return to that word later. And I think everyone's gonna like what happens. But we have Tom Brady announcing his retirement from the NFL. Were you surprised?
Yes. The reason why I was surprised was it just seemed like, and I think the timing was everything. The fact that he returned when he did was the most shocking. I think there was still a part of me that thought maybe he could come back at some point later on down the line. I think we both had the same views on that, but man, I couldn't help but to laugh when I was giving you that phone call because I knew it.
We'll get there. Don't ruin the story for everybody. Don't ruin the story for everybody.
I was in disbelief, that's for sure. I had to do a double take.
And my next question is, who the hell do you think you are, Adam Scheffler? Ruining the retirement announcement for Tom Brady. I mean, I think we both were a little perturbed. Yes, I used that word. Look it up, all right? We were a little perturbed at Adam Scheffler for what he did to Tom Brady because there's only one person who announces the retirement of the greatest athlete in the sport, and that should be the greatest athlete in that sport, right? We don't want, Charlie Windhorse, right, announcing Michael Jordan's retirement, or I guess since he's followed, LeBron James' entire life, announcing LeBron James' retirement. We want LeBron James announcing his own retirement. So Adam Scheffler got on a lot of people's bad sides, not allowing Tom Brady to announce his retirement. The second domino to fall, and this was after Aaron Rodgers was set to return to the Green Bay Packers. The Broncos, they missed out on their number one guy, but boy, oh boy, did they land their number two guy. And I'm going to let you tell the people what happened. What did the Denver Broncos do that made your life just so much better?
Yeah, I mean, it's the end of an era. You will not be missed. You will not be missed. It was the 49ers. It's like when you look at Aaron Rodgers and you look at his discomfort with the 49ers, it's the entire 49ers team. When you look at the 49ers and their discomfort with the Seattle Seahawks, it's specifically because of Russell Wilson. Because that team can just be crumbling and he will just pull something out of his behind and take them back, to take them to overtime, to take them back into a game that they have no business being in. This guy lingers just incredibly. And I was shocked when he was traded to the Denver Broncos, the team that he defeated in the Super Bowl. I was shocked that he left the Seattle Seahawks because part of me thought he would retire with that team just because of what he's done for the city of Seattle and what he means to that city and what he means to that organization. But obviously, the leakage and the things that were talked about throughout the season were true, and his departure from Seattle has come to fruition. He is now in Denver, of all places.
Russell Wilson is a Denver Bronco.
I can't believe it. But I am so ecstatic because, like I said, the 49ers have had issues with the Seahawks ever since this man has come to that team. I don't think it's any sort of coincidence that him joining that team, all of a sudden we start losing all of our games to them except for like 2 or 3. Because we had been destroying them since they joined the NFC West. Soon as he comes, big drop off. Now that he's gone, I don't care who you put in there. That spell, that voodoo curse, that whatever psyche that you got in the head, it's done. I'm sorry. And it's a fresh slate for Trey Lance because it's nice that he's not having to deal with that his first year.
Yep, so Russell Wilson traded to the Denver Broncos. Denver sending Drew Lock, Noah Fant, which that's a pretty big loss, and Shelby Harris to Seattle. Drew Lock your quote unquote new starting quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks. Very good news to other NFC West teams. I can tell you that much. Very good news. But then the news did not stop there. The news didn't stop there because the Chargers got a whiff. Is that the tide? Is it turning? The Chargers got into the mix and they traded for Khalil Mack. Yes, the Chargers robbed the Bears of Khalil Mack with sending very little in return for him. So the Bears, we'll see what happens. The Bears, granted, Khalil Mack was not no Oakland Raider Khalil Mack when he went to the Chicago Bears. He was decent, but he wasn't the Oakland Raiders Chicago Bears. Oakland Raiders Khalil Mack, excuse me. So we'll see what the Chargers are going to get. Back in the AFC West, back causing havoc for Derek Carr, back causing havoc for other of those AFC West quarterbacks. I'm sure Pat Mahomes is happy that he's there. I'm sure, Derek Carr's the other one. Oh, and Russell Wilson. I'm sure Russell Wilson's happy he's there. Hey, welcome to the Denver Broncos. Guess who you got chasing you for the next 4 years or however long he wants to be there. Oh, you just got Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack nipping at your heels for an entire game, 2 times a season. Have fun at that. And then, of course, the Chargers weren't done there. Chargers making moves. They win the J.C. Jackson sweepstakes. How you feeling about this Charger defense?
Yeah, they definitely needed that support in the secondary. And, adding Khalil Mack to an already, good Joey Bosa defensive line is going to be helpful, to get out on the edge. I think that having those 2 pass rushers together is going to wreak havoc on other offensive lines. I think Khalil Mack's not having to do nearly as much, and I think that's where he's good in his role. When you're asking him to do so much, either he gets hurt or he's unable to do it. And just relying on him, to take on the defensive line with having Joey Bosa is incredible. And also with that pass rush comes an even better secondary. I think that the Chargers have increased their defense by quite a bit. What do you think?
I think the Chargers have definitely increased their defense. I think Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa is going to be one heck of a combo. I think J.C. Jackson, or Mr. Interception as they call him, we shall see what happens. Although the biggest enemy for the Chargers is the Chargers. The Chargers are their own worst enemy, so we'll see if they can get out of their own way for a successful season. But the Broncos didn't stop there, right? Just like the Chargers, right? They were like, oh, we got Russell Wilson, we're good. No, we're not good. They poached Randy Gregory from the Dallas Cowboys. What a very interesting situation we had there. And then they got DJ Jones from the San Francisco 49ers. How do we feel about that?
It's bittersweet. I mean, it's unfortunate, that we lost DJ. DJ was an integral part of our defense and that defensive line, ever since Kinlaw got injured. I think that he had to step up and play a bigger role because, him and Armstead have worked well throughout the season together, and they did well in the playoffs together. So I think he was a bigger piece than people realized. With that being said, our defensive linemen are almost interchangeable as our running backs. So as big of a loss as it might have seemed, good for him that he got a good payday. He definitely deserved it. Much respect to DJ Jones, and I think the Denver Broncos are getting a hell of a player.
We'll see what happens, right? I think the biggest thing is if Javon Kinlaw can stay healthy. If he can stay healthy, I think this loss won't be as big as I think some Niners fans. Not you, because I think you're the one who kind of sees through the grass. But some Niners fans are kind of freaking out right now, thinking that the Niners don't really have as solid of a D-line. The Niners D-line is going to be fine. No real need to worry. Then you have, we it's pretty funny. We talked about them. I was kind of shocked that they haven't done anything. You were kind of shocked that they didn't do anything. We had the Raiders coming out of the woods, winning the Chandler Jones sweepstakes. And it was pretty, that was pretty surprising. I was pretty surprised that he went to Las Vegas. We'll see what happens. You know, we talked a little bit earlier on the phone. He is kind of injury prone. He does need to finish a season. I mean, they're going to pay him all this money. He has to finish the season. It has to be worth the contract. I mean, he's out here saying that he wants to win multiple rings. He wants to cement his legacy with multiple Super Bowls with Las Vegas. I've heard it all before. Let's actually get the job done before you start saying that, right? And then in what I think what we both thought was going to be the most surprising offseason move, you had the Las Vegas Raiders just reach their hands across conferences into the NFC, right up north, and just taking Davante Adams away from the freshly signed Aaron Rodgers. Davante Adams is now reunited with his former college quarterback from Fresno State, Derek Carr. We got Davante Adams, we got Chandler Jones, the two biggest moves. We have a litany of other moves, right? Re-signing Max Crosby, solidifying some parts of the running back, getting another receiver. How are you grading right now the Raiders offseason?
Well,
how are you
here's the
judging
thing.
them?
I know that they lost some of their pieces. I think they lost one of their good corners. From what I saw, I think this is my thing. When it comes to Chandler Jones, I think Chandler Jones is kind of a wild card because over the last he's aging, and over the last couple of years he has gotten hurt. I don't see that making much of an impact on that defensive line because they did have Ngakoue, who had 10 sacks, who had more sacks than the supposed all second team all pro, where Bosa got double the amount of sacks. So how does a guy on your team have 8 sacks and then Ngakoue has 10, and the guy who only has 8 sacks gets the second team all pro? Makes no sense. I need to talk to whoever's doing this. I need their job. I'm coming for your job. So here's the thing. I don't see that making much of a difference. However, by adding Davante Adams, that gives you a number one receiver. So I think that does propel your team in the right direction. I would give, these moves, I'll give them a B+. I think that's fair. I think I don't think Chandler Jones and losing Ngakoue, I think that's kind of hand in hand. I think it's a good move, but it's not anything special. I think what puts you and gives you that B+ is landing Davante Adams. Now, Davante Adams is now at the back half of his career. He's going to be 30 years old. So he's got a few good seasons left in him. It is important that they make a run for a Super Bowl now. And the person who is driving that car happens to be Carr. And so, can he get them over the top? I don't know. Because here's the thing. He is the 4th best quarterback in that division. And we've seen how that's worked out for a number of quarterbacks, including Jimmy Garoppolo. When you are the worst quarterback in your division, you're just going to have trouble getting there and winning. And the Raiders don't have near the defense that the Chargers or the Broncos have. So it's going to come down to, the reason why I give them a B+ is I feel they needed to make more moves on defense. I feel as though you did what you needed to do on the offensive side. You have a good tight end if he can stay healthy. You have a running back. You have a decent running back in Josh Jacobs, and because the reason why I say availability is everything. So when he's hurt, it takes him down a little bit. Hunter Renfro's a good slot receiver, and then you added Davante Adams. You needed to make more moves on the defensive side to stop teams. Because you're dealing with 3 quarterbacks that are better than yours. So what's the most important key there? Why did the Niners get to the Super Bowl and almost make it to the Super Bowl again with the worst quarterback in the division? And no disrespect towards Jimmy, because I love Jimmy. It's because we have an outstanding defense. That is something that the Raiders are lacking, and I think that they need to make a push to either sign Bobby Wagner or Tyrann Mathieu. You need to have a veteran piece that has won the Super Bowl before on your defense.
I like that. I like it. Yeah, Tyrann Mathieu, I think, is going to be the most likely candidate to end up in Las Vegas. We'll see what happens with Stephon Gilmore, too. He's still available. But again, I think you're exactly right. That defense still needs work to be done. They're doing the right things. Like you said, they're moving in the right direction. But, I mean, I think all Raiders fans can appreciate what you said, right? You got Davante Adams. The time for the Super Bowl is now. Not tomorrow, right now. Right now. And you're right, the best ability is availability, right? You got to be available.
Derek Carr doesn't get it done this year. He doesn't win you a playoff game this year. You've got to go. You've got to make a trade for one of these quarterbacks. You've got to trade. I don't care if you're trading 5 picks. You've got to trade for a quarterback, because Derek Carr doesn't have any more excuses. It's been 8 years. In the last 3 years, our Raider fans keep saying, oh, 1 more year. Oh, this is his last year and that's it. Oh, this is his last. I've heard it enough. You guys have bashed on 49ers quarterbacks, and rightfully so. That's fine. But I'm telling you, a lot of Raider fans are in denial about this man. And if he proves me wrong, then so be it. But I think we can both agree. If you don't win a playoff game this year, you're fucking gone. You are gone.
This is it. Yeah, this is it. Yeah, I'm telling all my Raiders fans, Derek Carr's excuses jar, no rhyme intended, is empty. It is now officially empty. He has used every excuse he could possibly have. It's done. We're going to see if this man is an elite quarterback. We're going to see if Davante Adams is, like Brandon told me earlier on the phone, is Davante Adams, is he the real deal, or did Aaron Rodgers?
That's the question that I have.
We're going to find out.
Is Davante Adams going to be the same Davante Adams? We don't know, and like you said, he made a good point, because we were talking, there was some dialogue that went on earlier today. It would be fun to kind of do like a shake-up in the NFL and see, would this quarterback be the same if he didn't have these weapons? Or would this receiver be the same if he didn't have essentially the best quarterback of all time? That is a major downgrade. I don't care what anybody says. Going from Aaron Rodgers to Derek Carr, no disrespect to Derek Carr, but that's a major downgrade. If you're going from Aaron Rodgers to Kyler Murray, that's a major downgrade. It's not just Derek Carr. This is the quarterback who's one of one. We've never seen a physical specimen like Aaron Rodgers, who can make back shoulder throws better than anybody I've ever seen in my entire life. So I'm interested to see, for my Raider buddies, hopefully it works out for you. It's no disrespect towards your team. Crosby's a good player. I just don't believe that he should have gotten second all-team pro over several other candidates. And that's just an opinion. You might have the opinion that he deserved it. But my main issue is Raider fans have been so critical of 49ers quarterbacks. Don't expect me to not dish out the same thing. What has Derek Carr done in 8 years? He has never won a playoff game. Jimmy Garoppolo has won 4 playoff games. Derek Carr has won none. And I know we have different defenses, whatever. They don't ask to be in. Jimmy Garoppolo's not going to be like, hey, let me have a worse defense. That's not how it works. I'm just saying, you still have to play the game. You still have to be a leader. Yep. They had a chance to beat the Bengals. What did he do? He threw it into double coverage. What did he do when he played against Nick Mullins in San Francisco, or again in Santa Clara? Lost 31-3. So my thing is we got to see what Derek Carr does now that he has a number 1 receiver.
Yep, we will see what happens, right? Moving on to the AFC North. just kidding, because there's one team left in the AFC West, and boy, oh boy, was there some major news today, baby. This season's gonna be great. We're gonna see if Pat Mahomes can, if Pat Mahomes is Pat Mahomes. Now, granted, the man has been to four out of four, right? AFC Championship games, right? Every single year he's been in the league, he's been to AFC Championship games. We're going to see this year if he can get the job done without his number one weapon in Tyreek Hill, who was just traded to the Miami Dolphins. I guess he chose money over winning. Congratulations to the fastest man in the NFL. Good kudos to you. Congratulations. So we are going to see. Chiefs done? What do you think?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. See, here's the thing. Here's the difference between Patrick Mahomes and a lot of these other quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes has never had even a top 15 defense. And he has been able to go to the AFC Championship 4 times. Now, he did lose a Super Bowl against the greatest quarterback of all time and one of the best defensive performances I've ever seen, along with great quarterbacking performance, not taking anything away from the go. You lost to the greatest quarterback of all time. I have no issue with that. Then you kind of stumbled a little bit. I think you got overconfident against the Bengals. I think that I think that you kind of overlooked them a little bit. I think it was, in my opinion, a little bit of a trap game, because here's the thing. The Bengals were not expected to win that game at all in KC. And they came out and they did not give up. And I think Patrick Mahomes, once they started coming back, I think that he started realizing, wait, what the hell's going on? And before he knew it, he got punched in the mouth. It was too late. And then he lost to the GOAT again his first year. It was a coin toss. Same thing that happened with Josh Allen. If he would have got the ball, I believe he would have been in the Super Bowl. He would have been a Super Bowl champ, because let's face it, Jared Goff not winning a Super Bowl. Then what he did in the fourth quarter against us, obviously it hurts me to this day. We're up 20-10 with 7 minutes left. He facilitated 3 and manufactured 3 consecutive touchdown drives to end up winning the game 31-20. So this is my thing. I think losing Tyreek Hill, I'm not going to act like it's not a problem. Obviously, it's an issue. But what is Patrick Mahomes the best at? Improvising. You still got McCole Hardman. You still got the best tight end in the league in Travis Kelce. And you added Juju Smith-Schuster, which I believe a receiver like that going to a team with an exceptional quarterback, he's going to be just fine. And I expect them to add at least one more piece, whether they trade for it with the haul of 5 picks that they just got, or they add a Odell Beckham, or they add a Julio Jones, or they add a Marquez Valdez-Scantling. If they add one of those receivers, I think he's going to be more than fine. Because what Patrick Mahomes does is, it doesn't matter if it's Pringle, it doesn't matter if it's Sammy Watkins, it doesn't matter if it's McCole Hardman. He makes plays. And he extends plays. So he's 26 years old. This team is young. I think with those draft picks, they add a lot to their defense. Hell no, he's not going anywhere. Hell no. He's 26 years old. Hell no. And I would use a lot more foul language. But I'm going to excuse the audience from that. There is no effing way that he's going anywhere. How do you feel?
I like it. Yeah. I don't think he's going anywhere, but I think the division just got that much harder to win. So we're going to find out. It's going to be challenging. It's going to be interesting. I'm excited. If Field Yates's tweet is true, and that the first 8 weeks of all the primetime games are all AFC West games, I'm here for it. I'm down, because honestly, every single game in that division is a primetime game. I want to see every single one of those quarterbacks go up against each other. I want to see Russell Wilson against Justin Herbert. I want to see Justin Herbert against Russell Wilson. I want to see Derek Carr versus Russell Wilson. I want to see it all. I want to see Russell Wilson against this Patrick Mahomes team without Tyreek Hill, who is the Raider killer. So I want to see what happens, because just like Niners fans rejoiced when Russell Wilson left the NFC West, oh boy, you should have seen Raiders fans popping bottles of champagne and just all their Hennessy bottles and all their tequila bottles and all their whiskey bottles, right? They're just popping bottles because Tyreek Hill is
I've got
gone.
Bad news for Raider fans.
Uh-oh. Don't hurt him now.
I've got some bad news.
Don't hurt him. What is it?
I know Russell Wilson left our division, but he's now in yours. So have fun with that, because you have been enjoying that for the last 10 years that we've been dealing with that crap. I know there's a lot of closet Seahawks fans, Raider fans that are closet Seahawks fans too, because of what they've done to us. He's now in your division, and guess what? 2 of the top 5 quarterbacks, aside from Russell Wilson, are in your division. Tyreek Hill left, but Tyreek Hill is not the problem. It's Patrick Mahomes. That is the problem. Because if Tyreek Hill's not going to get you, Travis Kelce will get you. So this is my thing. Hey, you can pop bottles all you want about Tyreek Hill leaving. That's cool. But at the end of the day, you still got to deal with you still got to deal with Patrick Mahomes, and we'll even leave Russell Wilson out of it. You still got to deal with Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert. That's a problem. Those are problems that I am glad. I'm saying I'm rejoicing. I don't have to deal with any of those problems. I'm dealing with a Matt Stafford who's a turnover machine who, in my opinion, I don't know if they're ever going to win again. And then you got Kyler Murray, who's, I don't even know what's going on with him. And then Drew Lock. Wait, hold on. Who's that? Who's that?
Drew Lock's going to be the MVP.
Who?
Just watch.
Who's that?
Lock. He's from Mizzou.
He's from Mizzou. You get what I'm getting at. What I'm saying is don't celebrate too early, because you still have to deal with Patrick Mahomes.
Dude, don't talk crap about Drew Lock. He's the best quarterback.
Is he the best quarterback in the division now, huh? I'm holding you to it. He's got all kinds of weapons. He's got DK Metcalf, and he's got Rashad Penny.
Hey, you are right. You are right. He does have a lot of weapons. He's got DK,
Rashad Penny,
who
how many times? I'm going to say this. Rashad Penny has to have a record for how many times he's torn his ACL. There's got to be some sort of record. A Guinness Book of World Record. How many times has this guy torn his... How many times have I looked at my phone and it says, Rashad Penny, ACL injury, will not return? How many times have you seen Rashad Penny? Unfortunately, I'm sorry, you don't wish that on anybody, but I feel like this dude has literally signed another 1-year deal. It's like 1-year deal after 1-year deal after 1-year deal. And every single year, it's the same thing. And what happens, Jake? What's the same thing that happens every year?
Well, he gets injured, apparently.
Tears his ACL, dude. Torn ACL, dude. And Chris Carson, same thing. It's like their running backs are have a plethora of ACL tears. Dude, when was the last good running back to come out of Seattle? Besides Marshawn Lynch and what's his name?
Sean Alexander.
They literally have dropped the ball on their running backs. And here's the thing. Marshawn Lynch wasn't even drafted by them. He was drafted by Buffalo. So they didn't even they weren't even scoping out that talent. So jumping to Seattle, I think, obviously we're kind of, there's just so much crap going on in the NFL. It's hard for us to stay focused on one thing. Looking at Seattle, and here it is. Oh, this is my favorite moment of the show. What are your thoughts on the Seattle Seahawks and their offseason? What are you going to give their grade this offseason?
We're gonna get to the Seattle Seahawks grade. We'll get to the Seahawks. I know you're ready. I know you're just ready to unload on these guys. Don't worry. We're gonna take
the energies here. I'm excited to be talking football. I'm so excited to be back with you, man. It's incredible, dude. To be talking.
We're gonna take a fat dump on
I can't
Seattle.
wait.
Don't worry.
I cannot wait.
All
right.
But first, we got to get to the AFC North, which has slowly but surely staked their claim as one of the top divisions back in football. And man, oh man, have they made some shocking moves this offseason. You got the Baltimore Ravens doing nothing. Doing absolutely nothing. That's right, Baltimore, doing nothing. Then you have the Pittsburgh Steelers finding Ben Roethlisberger's replacement, the next Pittsburgh great, the next one to lead them to the Super Bowl, which is Mitchell Trubisky. Yes, Mitchell Trubisky from North Carolina, UNC, the Tar Heels, right? He's coming to lead the Pittsburgh Steelers to their whatever consecutive winning season or 500 season, right? Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season, but man, oh man, you can't say that this guy is not a gambling man, because boy, oh boy, you're taking a big-ass gamble on that record, buddy, with Mitchell Trubisky as your quarterback. And then you have the Bengals, which, holy moly, right? Doing something that they have never done, which is actually spend money to actually make a Super Bowl run. What? The Cincinnati Bengals are really going to make a Super Bowl run? Yes! They went out and signed not one, not two, but three offensive linemen for Joey so that this man can stay upright. The man was knocked down 71 times. 71 times last season. This man was on the turf. I think we can both agree that if Joey had a better line last season, they win that game.
Absolutely, because the most critical factor in that Super Bowl was the offensive line, because you needed a better offensive line. I mean, it sounds, remedial that I'm explaining this, but basically, the Rams had the best defensive line in the league. So anybody who says that the Bengals didn't need to focus on the offensive line should not. I cannot have a conversation with, because we don't see eye to eye on football. You're talking about Aaron Donald and Von Miller. If you had a better offensive line, the answer to that is yes. And so they have won the offseason in the AFC North just based on the fact that they added all of those linemen, because we know that when you're able to extend a play, whether it be with better blocking or whether it be with your mobility, good things happen. So, give him a little bit of protection. He's got a high IQ as a quarterback. He's going to be able to get the ball. He's going to be able to get the ball to those amazing wide receivers that the Bengals have, led by Jamar Chase.
Yep. And then CJ Uzomah, for whatever reason, decided to go to the Jets. Don't understand that one. That's okay. We got Hayden Hurst, a smarter, better, more athletic tight end.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, good riddance. You want to leave a Super Bowl contending team, and you want to go to the freaking New York Jets to go play with Zach Retread Wilson. And I'm going to say that for now, because we don't know if he's going to do anything. But so far, Zach overhyped Wilson. Have fun, and no disrespect towards Robert Saleh. But I think we can both agree the New York Jets are a dumpster fire organization. Nothing good has come out of the New York Jets since Joe Namath.
It's true. It's very true. Then we had the Cleveland Browns, who are just kind of like the ugly girl in school who's like, please love me, just somebody, just show me some love. And then they were like, no, we're not gonna show you some love. And then they were like, wait a second, I'm gonna pay you all this money. And they're like, okay, I'll show you some love. And yet they traded Deshaun Watson. The Cleveland Browns have acquired Deshaun Watson from the former Houston dumpster fire Texans. Now the Houston Texans. Because that name went to somebody else, which, man, oh man, I cannot wait to say it. But Deshaun Watson, now a Cleveland Brown, they released Jarvis Landry. Don't understand why. Because they made this trade. But they made up for it because they made another trade. It's like that scene from Basketball where they're describing where all these teams go, and it's just like it's going all over the place. So now we have Amari Cooper.
That's a good movie.
Great movie. If you haven't seen it, watch it. Fantastic. Amari Cooper now leaves Dallas because he called Kirk the Black Kirk, he called Dak the Black Kirk Cousins, which is the greatest insult I've ever heard in my entire life. And please, please, if we ever get a chance to interview him, I swear, I please hope that's true. I just hope that is true, because that's hilarious. That is hilarious. So Dak didn't like that because Dak is Jerry's guy, right? So Jerry was like, hey, Amari, boop, go to Cleveland, right? Go to the graveyard of wide receivers. Hey, if you're a wide receiver and you want your career to die, guess where you go? The Cleveland Browns. And then Cleveland was like, we don't want to be a graveyard, a dumpster anymore. We actually want to have a chance. So what do? They went out and got Deshaun Watson and also gave him the most guaranteed money in league history at a whopping $230 million, eclipsing Aaron Rodgers' $185 million, I believe. So $50 million over, and the highest guaranteed money ever. Oh, but wait, the plot thickens. He still has 22 civil lawsuits against him, which means that chances are he's gonna get suspended by the NFL, which means that the Cleveland Browns will forever be the Cleveland Dookies, never getting out of their own way because they can't sign to somebody who may even stay on the field. Whew! That is the rundown of the AFC North. How are we feeling about the AFC North? What do you think? What can we expect? You think Lamar's going to
briefly touch on each team, we'll start with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know that people will sit back and say that, the Mitchell Trubisky signing was a joke, but if you look at Mitchell Trubisky's stats under Matt Nagy, 16-8. 2020, 16 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 93 passer rating, 2,000 yards. It's mediocre. And then you look at 2019, 3,000 yards, 17 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Mediocre. 2018, Pro Bowl year, 24 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 3,500 yards. Not bad. And so this is my thing. I think that if, with Najee Harris, and if they can, Pittsburgh always does well with drafting their receivers. Their defense is always solid. Yeah. I think he'll do okay. I think the guy's going to do okay. Do I think playoffs? I'm not sure, but I could see them having a winning record at 9-8. I could see that, or possibly 8-9. Okay. I think that Mitchell Trubisky gets a lot of flack. I think that there's a lot of negative stigma around his name. But I think that he deserves the opportunity to try one more time because he was under Matt Nagy and the dumpster fire Bears. The Bears. They're not good. I mean, the Browns are also dumpster fire, but the Bears have not been good at all. They have not had a good running back since, a great running back since Forte. Brandon Marshall was their last exceptional receiver. I think I wouldn't consider Allen Robinson incredible, but he hasn't had a lot of weapons, and putting him on Pittsburgh, you got Najee Harris, you got some decent receivers, so I'm interested to see how that plays out. I know people think it's pathetic. Me personally, I'm looking at it from an objective standpoint. Based on his statistics and based on his situation in Chicago, I think that he'll have a pretty decent season in Pittsburgh. Moving on to the Ravens, they're the biggest wild card in the division, in my opinion, because we can at least pinpoint that the Steelers might go 9-8 or 8-9. We know they're not going to do anything special with a quarterback who still has to develop. But Lamar Jackson, is Lamar Jackson going to be healthy? Is it going to be inaccurate Lamar Jackson? Is it going to be flashy Lamar Jackson? Is their running game going to get going? Is their defense going to step it up? Are they going to sign a free agent like Tyrann Mathieu? Because when I saw that Tyrann Mathieu was getting released from the Chiefs, I thought the best destination would be for him to go to the Ravens because they've always had solid safeties. They've always had a good secondary, and they've always had a stout defense ever since I've been watching them. 1999, 2000, early 2000s, they've always had a good defense. So I think they're the biggest wild card. I think the Bengals are going to be right back where they were last year. or close to it. I think that they're going to be at least make it to the divisional. I don't see any sort of Super Bowl hangover happening. I think Jamar Chase is just getting started. I think the same with Joe Burrow, so I expect them to go to the playoffs. So, when it comes to, back to the Cleveland Browns, Deshaun Watson, you guys get all the bad karma that you deserve. If you did any of those things that these women are accusing you of doing, which we don't know, you're a disgraceful, terrible human being. I hope it's not true. I hope that, obviously I don't want you to not play because of some civil suit, because then that meant that you actually did some of these things to these women. It doesn't matter. I mean, that's terrible. Any type of offense like that is terrible. But I do hope you don't perform on the field, because this is my thing. I just can't get behind the Cleveland Browns after what they did to Baker Mayfield. I think it's disgraceful. I mean, and I think that somebody who brought you a playoff win and brought success to your franchise after such dark years deserves a little bit more respect than that. And, I don't know. I'm interested on your take on that.
I completely agree. Yeah. The funny thing is, right, he's still on the team. We don't even know where he's going to go. So it's going to be very interesting to see where he goes. My prediction is Seattle. I think he's going to go to Seattle. That's just where I think he's going to end up. But I mean, there's at least two QBs right now, right, that are kind of just stuck. They're kind of just stuck in limbo. They don't really know what to do with them. And the teams don't want to cut them, right? And Baker's one of those quarterbacks. They don't know what to do with them. I think they were just as shocked that they were going to get Deshaun as Baker was when he found out. So I think the whole Cleveland Browns, Deshaun Watson thing, I think that thing kind of came together very last minute, and they didn't really think about the logistics. So it'll be interesting to see where Baker ends up. But yeah, definitely not what you like to see, right? I mean, I think you described it perfectly, right? You've been so crappy your entire life. You get this guy who, a lot of people doubted, didn't like, right? Thought he was going to be a bust. He leads you to the playoffs. Not only does he lead you to the playoffs, he leads you to a playoff victory. Not only does he do that, he leads you from one fourth down play away from going to the Super Bowl, right? They could have easily beat the Kansas City Chiefs if they would have just covered freaking Tyreek Hill on the most easiest readable play ever. The dude's sprinting out to the right. You know he's going to get the ball, cover him. So we'll see what happens. Cleveland is going to be a very, very interesting team this year. I mean, the defense relatively stayed the same. Offense, I mean, that's an interesting take that he made a lateral move. So we'll see what happens with the Cleveland Browns. In the AFC North, or not AFC North, in the AFC South, right, going down south, not too much happened here. We'll touch on it a little bit. Really only two teams really making moves, right? But big news out of the Tennessee Titans, right? Robert Woods has been acquired from a trade from the Rams, right, for a 6th-round pick, a measly 6th-round pick, and they got Robert Woods. If Robert Woods can get healthy, that is going to be a very interesting dynamic to add to A.J. Brown. The biggest question mark there is quarterback, right? Is Ryan Tannehill the guy? Both of us know. Both of us know that Ryan Tannehill is.
You had all those weapons. Come on. You had Derrick Henry.
Yeah, Ryan Tannehill, not the guy.
Julio Jones, A.J. Brown, Derrick Henry is the same exact person as Kirk Cousins and Derek Carr, I believe.
You mean Ryan Tannehill?
Ryan Tannehill, sorry, is the same as Kirk Cousins and Derek Carr.
Yeah,
he's the same.
Very, 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 very good comparison.
Yeah, they're very similar. I feel like they're in that same tier where they have a lot left to prove, and I'm not sure that they will.
Yeah, just the average tier. Then you have the Jacksonville Jaguars, who not only found a new coach to hopefully, turn Trevor into the quarterback that we all think he can be, but they got a crap load of weapons for this guy and stocked the defense as well. Christian Kirk being the most notable, signing away from Arizona. And I'll be honest, if you don't play fantasy football, I'm going to guess that you don't know who Christian Kirk is. So Christian Kirk was a decent receiver on the Arizona Cardinals, signed a massive deal that started this dominoes for all these receivers thinking that they deserve more money than they probably actually should be paid. But Christian Kirk, biggest move. Also, Brandon Sheriff getting the lineman from the Washington Commanders. We're not there yet. Brandon Sheriff from the Washington Commanders. We will see what happens with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then the biggest news of the week. And we all thought, because it was going to be, we thought Deshaun Watson was going there. And then it turns out he wasn't going there, but they still traded their quarterback anyway. Yes, Matty Ice is no longer in the NFC. He now joins every other great quarterback in the NFL in the AFC, because the NFC now only has 3 substantially, notable quarterbacks. Other than that, they're all in the AFC. Matty Ice now in the AFC South, still staying in the South, on the Indianapolis Colts, with a team that is ready to win now, or gives him a good chance at winning now. Getting Ngakoue from the Raiders, trading away Rock Ya-Sin. We'll see how that proves. Not really doing too much, though. We'll see. I think the big thing is, I think a lot of people expect Julio Jones to now go to Indianapolis. So we'll see what happens there. What are you thinking about the Matty Ice signing to the Colts?
I just hope it's not the same record being played over and over again. Same broken record with, you went from Brissett to Rivers to Wentz and these one-year quarterbacks. Yeah. I think it's a solid move. I think that Matt Ryan is a great quarterback. I think he still has a couple years left in him. I think that when you pair him with good wide receivers like Pittman and T.Y. Hilton, and also, one of the best running backs in the league in Jonathan Taylor Thomas, you have good weapons, and they have some pieces on defense. I mean, a couple notable ones are DeForest Buckner and Darius Leonard. So they have good pieces on defense. They have a really good team, and I think he's going to do well. What about you?
Yeah, I think he's going to do well in the Colts. I think the Colts is a good team for him to go to, and we'll see. I'm very curious to see Matty Ice on a different team. I thought that we went over it a little bit, I think, a couple days ago, about loyalty and people not really finishing with the teams that they were drafted by or had their main success by. And majority of these guys don't end up finishing with their careers with the same team. It's very very uncommon in the NFL. It's common in other sports. It's very uncommon in the NFL to finish with the team that you were drafted by. So very interesting to see what is going to happen. I mean, it looks like he's going to retire as a Colt. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, he's got the second best running back in the NFL. We'll see if he can make some noise. Moving up to the AFC East, the Buffalo Bills making a big splash in the AFC, signing Von Miller to that already ferocious defensive unit. Now the question is, can they play playoff football? Now the good news is, even better news is, you just signed somebody who's won 2 Super Bowls, who's going to kick all of your asses if you let frickin' Mac Jones only throw 8 yards and beat you. You hear me, Jordan Poyer? You big baby? All right, freaking crying about, why would you ask us that? Blah, blah, blah. You let a rookie quarterback throw 8 yards and lose a game. Unacceptable. And then what do? You choke in the playoffs. Your defense was garbage in the playoffs. Absolutely horrendous in the playoffs. So Von Miller there to change that. I mean, the team in the AFC East that's making the biggest noise is the Miami Dolphins, right? I mean, getting Raheem Mostert, I know some Niners fans are kind of upset about that.
Yeah, well, no, we all have a soft spot in our hearts for Raheem Mostert, because I was at that AFC Championship game. I love this guy. He's an undrafted player. He's got a lot of heart. I genuinely love Raheem Mostert. I always will. He'll always be a Niner in my heart. And unfortunately, he was ridden with injuries. And that's probably, like you said, availability is the best ability. Ability is the best.
The best ability is availability.
Right, and I think that's something that the 49ers were kind of honing in on.
Yep, I completely agree, right? So they let him walk. Dolphins also got Chase Edmonds. They also got Teddy Bridgewater to back up Tua. That's going to be an interesting combination. They got Alec Ingold from the Raiders. That's a big loss because he is the second best fullback in the NFL. Today, trading for Tyreek Hill. They now have the fastest receiving core in the NFL with Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill on the same team. That is
Devante Parker still on that team too?
Who?
Devante Parker.
Devante Parker is still on that team, surprisingly.
Gee.
I cannot believe that this man is still on the team.
That's crazy. No, I'm just saying those three are good receivers. Devante Parker is a good receiver.
They're going to be soft. They're going to be interesting. They're going to be interesting.
I'm interested to see, because in my experience, Alabama quarterbacks and Oklahoma quarterbacks don't translate well into the NFL. Yeah. I'm curious to see if they make a quarterback switch partway through the season, because Tua is not living up to what he was expected to, and that's why they brought Teddy in, because Teddy's a serviceable quarterback. Like you said, they made some big splashes. However, the big question mark is at that quarterback position.
Yep. I mean, they franchise tag Mike Gesicki, so they got their star tight end. They just signed Terron Armstead away from the Saints, so that's a big move to protect whoever's going to be at quarterback. So we'll see. We'll see what the Dolphins can do. I'm kind of excited to see the Dolphins. I'm be honest, I'd much rather see the Dolphins with Brian Flores, but Mike McDaniel, fine, no S. Mike McDaniel, we'll see what he's got. We'll see if he can hang there. But I think the connection, I think he brings a good energy. I think he brings a good youthfulness to that squad. So I'm excited to see what they do this season.
Yeah.
New England
I
Patriots.
think it's good for Tua to have Mike McDaniel. I think it's good for their run game too. Because like you said, they added Ingold, they added a really good fullback.
Yep.
And then they added also Raheem the Dream Mostert and
Chase Edmonds.
Mostert, whatever you want to call him, and Chase Edmonds. So they have a good ability to have that West Coast offense work well in Miami.
That's true. Very good, and that's a very good point too. I mean, wow, that's true. Tua and a West Coast offense actually might be kind of lethal. So that's a very good point. We'll see what Mike McDaniel comes up with offensively down there in Miami. Very interesting take there with that West Coast offense, because Tua would actually do well in that offense. The New England Patriots do what the New England Patriots usually do, which is not much. They've just re-signed a couple guys, yada, yada, yada. Then we go to the New York Jets. And the New York Jets are acting like they actually have a chance to do something this season. Stealing Lincoln Tomlinson away from your beloved Niners. Stealing CJ Uzomah away from my beloved Bengals. Then they re-signed the return specialist in Braxton Berrios. Legend. Undercover legend. Not many people know about that, right? And then they get Jordan Whitehead from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All in all, you know what it's going to amount to? Nothing. Exactly. Ding, 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 ding. Tell him what he won, Johnny. Yeah, exactly. He's amounted to nothing. Exactly. New York Jets, back to mediocrity. And that will do it for part number 1. We hope you guys have enjoyed. Yes, part number 1 is all about the AFC. Part 2, just about the NFC. But stay tuned. We got more to follow, and the fire just keeps on going. We promise. But if at any point during this video you like what you saw, please smash that like button, smash the subscribe button. Just do us a favor, right? Tap on that bell notification. That way, anytime new videos drop, you're right there, right? You're right there. You can just consume the content. It's right at your feet. Just look down, pick it up, shove it in the head of your, shake it around, and boom. Better fantasy player and a more knowledgeable football human being, right? Because that is what it's about. If you're not growing, you are dying. So always look for the opportunities to grow, right? Excuse me, jeez, I have to breathe before I try and speak. Part 2 is on the way. Part 2 is all about the NFC, right? Part 1, again, all about the AFC. Hope you guys have enjoyed. Remember to please check out the website, right? FantasyTimeSports.info, right? FantasyTimeSports.info. Check it out. You can follow us on Twitter at FantasyTime2021. Follow us on Facebook at The Fantasy Guy 2021. And then follow us on YouTube at FantasyTime2021. That's going to do it for part 1. And again, stay tuned because part 2 is on the way. Other than that, this is Jacob Cutler. You know who he was. That was one of my best friends, Brandon Sullivan, and we shall see you in part 2. See you guys in a second.